Alright, today we're going to do SAM Project 1A, Excel Module 2, Formatting Workbook Text and Data. Make sure you click to download both the instruction file and the actual file you'll be working on. Make sure you change your file name on the Excel sheet, so right after your first and last name it'll be underscore and it'll say 1. Make sure you change that to a 2 before we get started. You could also do it at the end, but make sure you do it. Um, Alright, first thing it wants us to do is, let's see, it wants us to change the theme. Let's see, so click Enable Editing. Um, okay, so we'll change the theme first. Go to the Page Layout tab at the top. On the far left, it's going to say Themes. You can do the drop down. It wants us to change the theme to Office, which looks to be just this very first one. So I'm just going to click on that. Alright, theme is changed. Then we're going to go to the Visits workbook. So if you go down to the bottom left corner, you'll see documentation, which is the page or the workbook we're currently on. We're going to click on Visits. We're going to select First, we're going to select A1 through H1, and we're going to apply the heading 1 style. That should be it's going to be on the home page or the home tab. Then you'll see styles here in the middle. I'm going to select this bottom right arrow to do a drop down to see more. And it wants us to do heading 1. So it's this first one, like the middle of the page. Alright, so I applied that. Now it wants us to merge and center that same range, so keep that selected and go to still here on the home. It's going to be under alignment, merge and center. Click on that. Format the report dates. Now it wants us to go to A5 or A4, which is here, to B5. It wants us to change the background color of this range. So that's going to be font color. It wants us to do gray accent 3 lighter 80%. So that's going to be like gray. Okay, I don't think that's it. Let's see. Background. Alright, so maybe this is full color. not seeing the same colors. Um, I, I don't see the color it wants us to use, so go ahead and just change the color to, let's just do this light gray background too, and I'll fix it when I grade the assignment. It'll ding the points, but I'll fix it. All right, so change it to that. Gray. Then it wants us to do A4 through A5. It wants us to make it bold. So we're just going to select the bold here under home font. It'll be the capital B right here. Then we're going to do B4 and B5. We're going to format those cells to display the date differently. So right now it's displaying, it wants us to have 2 digits in every spot. So right click, go to format cells. We're going to go to date, and then we're going to go down to where on this one it says 3, 14, 12. So basically it should have 2 numbers for every date slot. Click OK. It's formatted. We're going to format the table headings. So A7 through H7. A7 through H7. Alright, it wants us to italicize these. So select A7 through H7. Up under font, under the home tab, hit the capital I here. It's italic. Then we're going to A7 through, well, we have A7 through H7 selected. It wants us to do horizontal centering. Um, horizontal. So I think horizontal centering should be this button here that says middle align under the alignment on the home tab. So I've selected that. And it wants us to change the background color from to orange accent 2 lighter 60%. Orange accent 2 lighter 60%. So that is the 6th column, 3rd row under the fill tab. If you didn't catch that, it's under here. It's font, and it's this little bucket with the paint. And you just click the drop down and select orange accent 2 lighter 60%. Then we're going to change the background color of range B8. Let's see, B8 to D8. All right. Do B8 to D8, and then it also wants us to do F8 to H8. So I'm going to hit Control and then select each of those so I can do it all at once. Then it wants us to do orange accent 2 lighter 40% on this one. So click the paint bucket again. And this one will be slightly darker. It's the one right below the last one, orange accent 2 lighter 40%. Let's see, A7 to A8. A7. So it wants us to select A7 through A8, and then we're going to do merge and center. So that's this two over here with service. And the merge and center is under alignment at the top, and click merge and center. And it also wants us to make sure it is aligned vertically, which it is because of the middle line we did earlier. And then it wants us to do merge and center for E7 and E8, which is the one here with total visits. And then B7 to D7. Is that B7 to D7? It wants that one merged and centered. And F7 through H7. Alright, so when you're done, it should look like that. Next, we're going to select the range A10 through H10. Let's see, A10 through H10. And it wants us to do white. It wants us to change the background color. So go back up to that fill bucket. And it wants us to do white, background 1, darker 5%, which is this first one under the down below themes. And it also wants us to do the same thing for A12 through H12, so the line starting with diagnostic image. And just click the paint bucket again to do the last color we did. Alright, then we need to do F9 to H12. Let's see. F9 to H12. So that's this block of text underneath ins, cash, and credit. Select that whole range. We're going to format it as a percentage. So we're going to right click. It'll bring up this menu here. We're going to go to Format Cells. And we're going to go to we're going to select percentage. And it wants us to do 0 decimal places. So it's default set to 2. So change that to 0. Alright. And then we're going to do some conditional formatting. So that is on. It's still here on the Home tab. So we're going to. Let's see. Select G9 through G12. Let's see. G9 through G12. We're going to click conditional formatting up at the top next to styles. It wants us to do highlight cell rules, which is this first one. And it wants us to do less than. So select less than. Now it should be values less than 6%, which is what it defaulted to for me. And then it needs to be light red fill with dark red text, which is also what it defaulted to. If it didn't default, then change that to 6% and change it to light red fill with dark red text. Hit OK. And then the formatting should look, the 4% and the 0% should be highlighted because they are less than 6%. Then we want to select range A17 through A23. So it's this section here that has less discuss and increasing availability, and it kind of runs off the edge. We need to rotate the cell contents here. So let's see, rotate. So that's selected. Trying to figure out how to rotate this. The rotate seems to be grayed out for me. Let's see. Insert. Um, Alright, so select A17 to A23. Go up to the search bar at the top. Type rotate. And then select alignment settings. I should bring up this dialog box for formatting cells. It wants us to rotate it to 0 degrees. It's currently set at 45 degrees. So over here on the right, change that to 0. Then it also wants us to indent it. Right now it's got a 0 indent. Change that to 2. So rotate to 0 degrees, indent 2, and hit OK. And it'll make the text fit in that box. Then we're going to find and replace some text. So that is under so we're going to go to the Home tab at the top. We're going to go to the right side where it says Find and Select. Do the drop down and select Replace here. It also says you can do Control H. Alright, so bring up Replace. We're going to find the word INS and we're going to replace it with insurance. So it says find what, put INS, replace with insurance, and then hit replace all. Hit OK and close. Then we are going to set the workbook up for printing. So we're going to put a page break at the start of row 14. Let's see. So select row 14, go to page layout. So page layout tab at the top. Right here it says breaks. Do the drop down and select insert page break. Alright, you won't actually see anything change, it's just for when you print. Then it wants us to set the margins to narrow while you're still under page layout. Under page setup here, select margins. Currently it's set to normal. Go down and select narrow. And then we're going to select rows 1 and 2. So select rows 1 and 2. We're going to set those as print titles. So with row 1 and 2 selected, stay here under page setup. Select print titles. Click OK. Um, I think you just hit OK after that, and they'll set those to print titles. And we just need to create a custom footer and we'll be done. So we're going to go to headlines. You're going to go to the Insert tab here. You're going to go to Header and Footer. On the right hand side, it's right next to text box and word art. Do Header and Footer. Now it's going to change the view. It wants us to do a footer, so go up here to the top where it says go to footer. All right. And the footer should be the current page number. So in the left one, it wants us to do the current page number, which if you go up here to header and footer elements, just select page number. Then in the middle one, it wants us to do sheet name. So that's another option up here. So just click sheet name. So it should say one and then and tab. All right. And then you select off of that. Close. Let's see, how do you close this? Header and footer. We're done. We can save it at this point. I'm just trying to figure out how to change it back to normal view. Okay. If you want to change it back to normal view, just go down the bottom right corner. It was on page layout, and I just selected the normal. Then just make sure you save it. If you didn't edit your file name before, edit it now and change that 1 to a 2, and you're ready to submit it. All right, everyone, have a good weekend.